Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for purchasing a ticket to watch Undergods here at Glasgow Film Festival 21. We're so happy to have a very special Q&A to screen alongside the film that you'll be watching right now. My name is Chris Kumar, and I'm the programme coordinator for Glasgow Film Festival. And I'm so delighted to welcome my very special guest to chat a bit more about the film and give you a little more insight into it. Is none other than the director of the film Undergods. It's Chino Moya. Do you want to introduce yourself again and just say hello to everyone?
Hi everyone. Happy lockdown to everyone. And yeah, hi, I'm Chino Moya in my living room in London. And yeah, I'm delighted to be able to premiere the film in the UK. And obviously it's a British film, so this is the film's home. So obviously it's a very important, it's a very important moment is to be screening, because this is in a way where the movie belongs. So yeah, I hope you like it. And there's also something about Scotland, like we have Kate Dickey, we have Douglas Russell, we had another person from Scotland, but he got, like, we were filming when there was this crazy snow storm in Scotland like 2-3 years ago, and that person couldn't make it. So we would have had like 3 Scottish actors, but we ended up only with 2. But those 2, I think, are brilliant, and so I hope maybe they're also watching other. But yeah, so there's obviously a Scottish element in the movie that, weirdly enough, I have to say, and that's weirdly enough, when we were auditioning the movie, people from Scotland somehow worked better than people from England. So, and I don't know, it was not for anything, but I remember the producer and me, we were auditioning, and the people that came, Scottish actors, for whatever it was that we were looking for, the actors, there was something that was working better from, like, with Scottish actors. I think they were more in tune, or maybe it's just the way of speaking, or maybe it's just something, but there was something that was more Undergods than the just plain English. Doesn't mean that we have also great English actors, but there was something that I remember my producer and me talking about it, like, it's weird, like it feels that, like, the Scottish actors, they somehow in general they seem to be fit better, so whatever. And now we're premiering in Scotland, so
So it's all worked out amazing. I mean, I agree. I think you look at the Scottish actors in the film, and you've got some really good ones there. Kate Dickey, obviously, Glasgow Film Festival, big fans. We screen a lot of her films in the past years, so you can't really go wrong with her. So yeah, just to kick off, then the film's amazing. It's so just, I've run out of superlatives to talk about it, but just in regards to the film, where did the idea come from?
To be honest, it was never a conscious decision, like, I'm gonna make a movie about this. It was more like it came out, like, it just, I think there were a lot of ideas, a lot of things that I was thinking about, things that I was worried about, things that I was feeling about the direction of the world, and it all came out. But it was never like, it was never a plan beforehand, like, I'm going to write a movie about this, or about, like, using these characters. It just, like, I started writing, and this sort of dystopian worlds came out, this kind of white middle-aged men came out, and this sort of dysfunctional families. So it all happened. I think there were things that were all just kind of, I had them in my head, and somehow I needed to take them out. So but I think they reflected basically a lot of my worries, concerns, things. Maybe reading too many newspapers, and
Yeah, I can understand that. I think, well, that makes sense then. I think because of the type of film it is and that sort of anthology sort of form, and it's got like its little short stories that are all connected, that kind of makes sense, I guess, in regards to your process then, if it was you had all these sort of ideas swirling about. Was it a challenge to connect all these sort of individual ideas, or was that something that again came along with as you were putting it on the page? Did they naturally fit together?
Yeah, no, I think probably the most challenging thing was that, like, because I came up with a lot of things, and obviously, I guess through the movie process of financing everything, you're constantly forced to make sense of your ideas, because you need to, yeah, you need to justify your ideas, and you need to convince people to give you money. So you go through endless process of pitching in a lot of different places. Here with the BFI, but also in Brussels, we pitched to someone else. Like we pitched to a lot of people, and everyone wanted. And even my producer, when she got on board, obviously, first thing is like, okay, what is it all about? So it was, at the beginning, the script was way more open, way more surreal. And through all those processes, I was forced to make sense out of it. I was forced to find the common threads there. And I think that's what make it everything more like cohesive. And I think that's through, and it was definitely challenging, because I had all these ideas, also for me to understand why I wanted to make a movie about these things. Then I end up realizing at one point, because there's something in the movie about these totalitarian worlds and also these sort of more capitalist environments, and they all just live together. And then I realized I was born in Spain in this sort of liminal historical period. Like, I was born straight after Franco died, like this dictator we had for 40 years. But before democracy started, it was just a mini window of a couple of years that there was we weren't in a dictatorship anymore, but we didn't have democracy anymore. And we're in this sort of, in between this totalitarian, after this totalitarian, 40 years of this totalitarian rule, and we're just heading into this crazy neoliberal 80s democracy. That's actually what happened. It all just exploded, and money started coming like crazy in Spain. So, and I think I was born in the middle of this in between. And I think there's something about the movie, about the idea of the totalitarian 20th century and the neoliberal late and 20th century and early 21st century. And I think a lot. I realized that when I was actually through the pitching process, that was probably one of the main things that made me write a movie that happened around these different worlds. Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely one of the things that I realized about the movie and about myself, that really helped me a lot putting together all the stories of the movie. Yeah, but it only happened very advanced into the finance process.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting to say that. I think that's not something I would have obviously known about the film, so that's really interesting. I think just in this regards to the sort of things that happen in the film as well. Obviously, anyone watching this out, I would assume that they've watched the film, so some spoilers ahead. But the scene at the party with the sort of the My Way sing along, that to me was absolutely incredible to watch, because I've always kind of seen that song as a bit of a national anthem for that sort of toxic masculinity sort of thing, where it's like men are like, yes, I do things my way because I'm a man and this is how I do it. And you can see that coming out kind of in the performance. So I'm wondering, was that song always going to be the song? Was it always going to be My Way, or did you have different alternatives that you thought you were weighing up?
No, that it was in the script. it was in the script. And funnily enough, I just found something very recent. It came up. I was at the Christmas. I have a very sort of Trumpian right-wing kind of uncle who's actually a very nice guy, despite of his political stance. But he's a really nice guy. But he's very kind of very white male, right-wing kind of character. And over this Christmas party, he started singing "My Way." And there was something like, wow, and I got a lot of, it felt right. It was like, wow, this will fit really well in the movie. So I put it, and it's true that when I was editing the movie, when I was watching it when it was completed, even me, I realized, okay, this is when the movie finally makes sense. When finally you see this white middle-aged man just raging, saying "my way, this is my way," and suddenly you see this sort of this white middle-aged man whose world is crumbling and falling apart, still trying to grasp whatever is left of his life, of his privilege, but then, and that I found out literally only 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that was an amazing discovery. Apparently, Donald Trump had an epiphany when he was young, listening to "My Way." And that was the moment when he realized who he was, what his mission in the world was. I literally just read about that like 2 or 3 weeks ago in one of these endless articles about Trump or Trump's life. And then apparently, there was a moment in his life when he listened to that song and something happened within him. It's like, okay, and he realized, okay, this is who I am. This is my, so it made more sense than ever. Yeah
absolutely. The way that whole scene unfolds, it's one of those things where you're watching and it's uncomfortable to watch, but you can't take your eyes away from it, just because everyone I think has experienced someone who is of that sort of ilk, where it's like very like, they think highly of themselves and they are that sort of attitude of, I don't care about anyone else thinks, I'll do what I say, and if you don't like it, that's up to you. And it's just a captivating scene that I think really ties the film together, because I think a lot of the film does deal with, or certainly looks at men and how, and like the sort of emasculation of men. A lot of the characters in the film are and clearly have empty lives and things like that. So I'm just wondering, in terms of that aspect of the film, was that something that you see as a reflection of today's sort of society, or the problems with today's society?
Yeah, weirdly enough, there was from the very start, I wanted to do something about the decline of white masculinity, and that was one of the themes but I started with, I think it was 7 years ago when I first started. So it was not like a major topic. It was definitely the whole idea of the toxic masculinity. The Me Too movement haven't started yet, which I think was and Trump, Brexit, a lot of stuff having this kind of right-wing populist movements so there's something that somehow, as we were making the movie, it became more and more prominent and weirdly enough, it helped at the very beginning when we were starting pitching the movie. Some people were more, people liked it, some others not. And then suddenly, as Brexit and Trump happened back to back, people understood a lot more the themes of the movie, and that's when we got the money. So that was always there, this idea of the toxic masculinity and the decline of Western man, but it was only right after Brexit and Trump that a lot of people understood or felt more like interested in those themes, and that helped us a lot to get the money.
Yeah, I think that's something that's always kind of been there, but I think that just goes to show how, especially for a film that clearly you started making a long time ago and has taken a long time to get to screen, that, you know, that's how real life feeds into art. And I think, if anything, then that what you've said there explains to people how real life can feed into an artist's work. So in regards to the film, obviously, if it did take you a long time to get it made, but the film looks fantastic. Like, it just looks incredible. Every scene just looks absolutely brilliant. I feel like it's that sort of thing. You could take any shot from the movie and it just looks beautiful. You could put it on a wall as a still and it would just look great. I mean, how was that process? Was it a long, arduous process to find all these locations? And was it a struggle because it's so like visually stylistic? I imagine it took a lot of work.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of work, first of all, scouting throughout Eastern Europe, trying to find like this sort of brutalist architecture and this place that had the scale and the style of architecture. And it wasn't easy. The first place we went was Estonia. And I was very excited because it was actually it used to be part of the Soviet Union. So I was like, wow, I'm sure this is going to be amazing. And it was very disappointing because because being part of the EU, it was completely cleaned up. Everything was new, everything was clean, everything was modernized. So we couldn't find that. And then we scouted, I think, in Bulgaria a little bit. And then finally we went to Serbia and we found it. And Serbia, like Tito, the dictator of Serbia, had built a parallel city next to Belgrade called New Belgrade, which was a city built from scratch in the 60s or around the 60s. And they built this crazy, amazing, beautiful brutalist architecture, these housing blocks, these massive avenues, these industrial kind of states. It was really amazing. And so as soon as we got there, it's like, okay, this is the place. So we kept on going a lot. Like we went at least 3 or 4 times before shooting to Serbia just to scout. And then on top of that, we added a lot of VFX. So we extended, because those streets, they were brutalist and really interesting and stuff. But then they have like shops, traffic lights, it's normal people living, cars parked. So we have to clean everything up in post, to destroy the buildings a little bit more, to extend it. So it was quite a process of both in the scouting and then the other of actually transforming them through VFX. So it was these 2 layers, and there was a lot of definitely a lot of work was made on both process of the scouting and the VFX. By a lot of people.
I think it's a testament to the film, though. It shows you how much hard work can pay off. You know, I think clearly you've put a lot into it, and the film just looks, you know, like I say, spectacular and a real dystopian sort of, you know, just nightmarish sort of, you know, view of an alternate sort of reality. But was there any films that you drew influence from that directly influenced the film?
Yeah, there were many, and they were very diverse. Obviously, from the Eastern European side, obviously Stalker, Tarkovsky, which actually was shot, because we shot a little bit in Estonia, in Tallinn, just a few shots of this. We found the very few remaining locations that still have that brutalist feel. And actually, a section of a Stalker was shot in Tallinn, near where we were shooting. But yeah, definitely Stalker. Possession by Zulawski is a movie that we look at out. But also modern, like more contemporary films like Ulrich Seidel films. I love the way he plays with the characters. I think, there were even Miracle in Milan. by De Sica was a movie that also we look for this sort of people living in poverty in this, and we look a lot. Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, definitely Possession, Pasolini Teorema as well, of this idea of the stranger that comes into the, obviously, Haneke films. To be honest, there were a lot of, I think because it was my first film, there are millions of films that were sort of in my head, and I just, so it was, yeah, comic also, besides films, a lot of books, a lot of comic books as well, so it was tons of influences, but there was none that was like more prominent than the others. I think it was a combination of all of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think especially if we went, like you say, it's your first feature, and I guess you're probably so like bursting just to get your ideas out on screen. So I can understand that you would have a lot of different sort of influences, and that those the ones you've mentioned make sense. I think anyone that hasn't seen the things that you've mentioned, I think if they visit those, they'll probably see, they'll be able to lift bits where they can go, oh, I can understand that sort of inspiration. So in terms of the film and what it covers, what do you hope that an audience member will take from the film?
To be honest, I mean, my hope number one was always a good hour and a half, just someone to sit there and have like an hour and a half that doesn't feel like a waste, that feels like, oh, I yeah, it's been a good. And then hopefully also another thing that, or another of my hopes is like different people will make different things out of this movie. Like not everyone will feel the same, and some people will make it, maybe even find it funny. Some people maybe will just find it just bleak, and that's it. And even in terms of themes that people have a more personal interpretation, and maybe even people, not everyone thinks that the themes are the same or so. So hopefully I was hoping or hope that this movie, yeah, it affects people in different ways, so they understand it in different ways. Yeah. So, but definitely my biggest hope is that they just see people, images, music, an hour and a half, things changing a bit of and then it's, oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess hopefully people will watch a film like this and realise that the current climate that we're all living in isn't actually as bad as it could be, I suppose. But yeah, no, I think that makes sense. And as you said there, the film is definitely funny. I mean, it's dark, but it's funny. Absolutely, I was laughing a lot during it because just some of the stuff is just so darkly comedic, and maybe that ties into my sense of humor. But yeah, I'm sure lots of people will find it that way. So just wrapping up, honestly, thank you so much for joining us. And what's next for you? Obviously, Undergods is screening here at Glasgow Film Festival. It's the UK premiere. What it's screened at festivals around the world. I think it was at Fantasia before as well.
Yeah.
Things.
Black Nights in Tallinn.
Black Nights. So it's definitely screened at, done some festival dates. Hopefully we'll get to see it on a slightly wider release later on in the year. I don't know if that's in the works, but yeah, what's next for you? Going ahead.
Well, I mean, the best thing about lockdown is that it's great for writing. That's definitely when you don't homeschool, which I do half of the time. So it's been very useful for that. I have a sci-fi British thing and a post-pandemic horror. So I'm working on both. One script, the sci-fi British film is, almost. I think I have a proper first draft, and the other is more in an earlier stage. But those are the two main things I've been working on. So I hope to get one of those off the ground soon, and hopefully by the time things return to a slightly more normal stage, I can suit them. Yeah.
Great. Well, it's good to know that you've got stuff in the works. I'm sure, certainly from Glasgow Film Festival's point of view, we'll keep an eye on it. It's always nice to keep in touch and stuff, so please do keep in touch with us. And I know the audience will definitely seek out your stuff in the future. So just as a last sort of thing, I always like to just let our guests have the floor. And if there's anything you'd like to say to the Glasgow Film Festival audience, just please, now's your time just to say anything that you feel.
Yeah, well, that I'm happy and glad, and I'm very pleased that you're watching the movie. I hope you enjoy it, and it entertains you at least, which is my main. And since we don't have the possibility of interacting in live, you can find me in social media. Just feel free to fire any questions, any comments, even if the comments are bad. Just I'm there. I'll be happy just to hear any form of comments, impressions from anyone. And thank you so much, and thanks a lot to Christopher and to all the people at the Glasgow Film Festival. We are delighted to be part of it. And thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, man. That was
Thanks.
Good.